Posting 101. All the things, all the posts, all the lives, all the things, right? There's so many things, all the stories that you can post, so it can get overwhelming so quickly. So what we're going to talk about today is, what do you really need to post? How might you really structure your posting schedule? What does it mean, like when you say need to post? Well, what does that really truly mean for you? That's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to give you 3 tips so that you can figure it out for yourself, right? So that you can figure out what works best for you. Okay. So welcome. If we have not met before, I am Debbie Dunford with David and Debbie Dunford. And we help online networkers to be able to attract a following of and a consistent following of prospects, of sales, of teammates, all those things that that we need to grow a business, right? And we use it through leveraging, through branding, through marketing, all those different things to help you be able to really be successful and get the result that you want and live that life that you really want. So if we haven't met before, it is nice to meet you and welcome. We are excited to have you in our community. So make sure and let me know as you're hopping on where you're coming from. David and I are from the South Salt Lake Valley area of Utah. So it's nice to see you. And it's been really snowy today, so I'm excited. Okay, so there's a lot of times you're not sure where to begin, right? There's so many things that you can be doing. So many different posts and stories on Instagram, on Facebook, on wherever you're at, right? And reels and lives. And there's just so many things. So how do you know what is most effective and important for you to do? How do you know even where to begin, right? A lot of times that's a question. I know that's a question I asked myself too, and felt overwhelmed with, not even knowing where to begin. So let me know if that makes sense to you, and if that's something that you've experienced yourself. Just put a me in the discussion if that is you. So the first thing I want to make sure that we're on the same page with is figuring out and defining the word consistency. So what does consistency mean to you? What does that word mean to you? And one thing I really want to think through and talk about, because some ideas about consistency is it's doing a repetitive pattern, right? Something that you repeat that's over and over and over in about the same amount of length of time, right? So your consistency may not be the same as somebody else's consistency. For example, there might be somebody that's been in their niche for a while and on a platform for a very long time, and maybe they're doing like 5 Facebook Lives a week, and they're consistent with it, and they've done it every week for months, years, right? Not too many years, because lives haven't been around for a long time, but they've been doing it consistently week after week, month after month. Somebody else's consistency might look like 1 Facebook Live a week, done each week, same day, over and over, doing that consistent weekly live. And that's what their consistency is, right? So consistency can be different for different people. The meaning is the same, but what it looks like for you and for your business might be different than somebody else's. Okay. So first, so you need to ask yourself, and you need to figure out, first of all, what's reasonable for you. What's reasonable for you to be able to be consistent, okay? The reasonable piece and the consistency piece, those go hand in hand, right? So that's first thing that we want to do then. I'm just looking at my notes over here to make sure I'm staying on track. Starts with the organization processes, okay? Organization and processes. So the first thing I would have you do is map out your average week, right? And when I had somebody do this, they said, well, my business is, I think it was like insurance or something, where it's, well, I just work when the client can schedule, right? Like my week is different each week. There's nothing static or the same. And so she just gets to be a little bit more creative and knowing, how many clients you're able to take each week, right? Maybe she schedules 15 or 20 clients a week. I have no idea. But let's say she schedules 15 clients a week. even if they're scattered throughout the week, then on the times that you're not working that business or not working your job, then what other time slots do you have available, right? So figuring out, because you're really just trying to figure out, the purpose of it is to figure out, and by mapping out your week, you're working to figure out what your week is generally like, so that when you go to step 2, you can look at, okay, what has to stay? What are those things that absolutely have to stay? Like your job, right? Like taking those clients. If you're not working, what other things have to stay? Well, like feeding your kids lunch, right? Feeding your kids breakfast, all those things have to stay, right? And what can be, what do you want to stay? And what can you sacrifice? What might you sacrifice? Okay, I'm going to change that word can to might. What might you sacrifice? Because in your business, when you're growing a team, when you're working with customers, when you're working to build a following and create an audience and network with other people, that has to have time and space. Now, for me, before I got started in this, my day was filled up. I filled all of my daily time and space. We all have 24 hours, 7 days a week, right? For me, that was filled without the entrepreneurial business stuff, without having that team and without the marketing and things like that I'm doing. My time was already filled up. The space was filled up. So I had to look at, well, things are going to have to shift. I'm going to have to sacrifice something, because I didn't just add a whole nother 24 hours and have 8 days a week. Like, that doesn't happen. So I need to take some things out. So what might I take out? What are some things that you are kind of easier to sacrifice? Maybe not super easy, but easier. Maybe it's watching your show on Netflix. Maybe you can easily take that out. You do need to have some time for you. Don't just take that out completely, but could you shrink it down? Is there a weekly thing that you do get together with friends? Maybe you take that out. Maybe it's not what you want to take out. But again, if you want your business to grow, you're going to have to make those harder decisions and those harder sacrifices. So what can you take out easily? And then what might you need to take out in the, you want to stay, but you might have to dig into that part a little bit, into that category, and get rid of that as well. So you're giving yourself more bandwidth. You're taking away some of those other tasks that have filled your time, filled your days. You've got to carve out some of that space. So there are things you're going to have to let go of. Now, who cringes? Be honest. Give me a thumbs up if you cringe when I suggest letting go of the dishes until the end of the day, or letting the laundry sit in the laundry basket clean until the next day, or in 2 days. Like, where can you make those little sacrifices for the time being, not forever, but to give yourself the latitude that you need and the bandwidth that you need to move your business forward, to be able to do those tasks that you need to do, like posting, right? So that's the second thing. Then the third thing I would have you do is to figure out what you can now be consistent with. Okay. So you've mapped out your day and figured out what your week. You've figured out what your average week is like, things that have to stay. The second thing you've done is looked at what has to stay. What are those priorities? Those things that need to stay, must stay things. Those things that you want to stay, those things that don't have to stay, that you can easily sacrifice. Take those pieces out, and then figure out, okay, now that I've carved out some of my week, now what can I be consistent with? Now, looking at my schedule, what days, how many times could I go live and stay consistent with it? And here's a part where sometimes, I know I tend to go full bore. Okay. Oh, I can totally do 3 a week. Well, if you're not sure that you can absolutely be consistent with it, then don't do it. You're going to hurt yourself in the long run. Sorry, I'm getting a phone call. So you're going to hurt yourself in the long run. So what can you be consistent with? Again, now here's kind of the little backwards of this, or caveat to this is, well, but you also want to push yourself. So you do want to push yourself. I'm not saying take that out. You're an entrepreneur. You've got to push yourself, right? You've got to grow in and level up what you're doing. So that means pushing yourself and getting out of your comfort zone. So if 2 a week is reasonable for you to be consistent with, it's not what you want to do, but it's what you can reasonably and consistently do, then do that. Okay. So, you're still going to push yourself. This is not a cop out. Okay. Oh, well, she said, I don't have to, I can be consistent with one. No. You've got to still push yourself. This is not a cop out, but it does need to be reasonable. Okay. Reasonable. So then the last piece is, okay, well, how will you know if this works? And let me back up just a bit. So as to kind of summarize that. So as you're looking at those pieces and what you can consistently do, then you get to decide. Part of that decision is, well, how many lives a week, how many posts a week, how many posts a day, all those things. What can you reasonably be consistent with for your entire week with posting? And by posting, yes, a live, I consider a post, right? It's something you're putting out there, content you're putting out there. Same thing with stories. Maybe it's a mixture of things. Maybe you say, well, I can do 1 live a week. I can do 3 other posts a week, and I can do 1 story a day. Whether that's on Instagram or both or whatever, right? You're just looking at the whole, whatever platform you're on, you're looking at the whole of it and saying, okay, what can I reasonably do? And maybe you can only do 1 live and 3 posts. And then that's 4 posts for the entire week. And that's what you can be consistent with. Don't add something else in until you can start being consistent with that as well. Okay, let me know if this is making sense. Let me know what worked for you about what I shared today. What aha or takeaway you got. Okay. So then how will you know if it works? How will you know if this works? You go out and you try it. You go out and you test it. That's the word I like to use. You test it. You try it out, right? So don't be concerned with getting it perfect for now. We're just getting something out there that you can be that you feel like, looking at your schedule, I can be consistent with this. It's reasonable for me. So I'm just going to try it and see if it works. Okay. I'm just going to start posting according to what I think might work for me and try it out. Okay. So then if you need to make a tweak, then you make a tweak. So again, I'm curious what's working about this for you. I'm curious. I'd love your feedback. And if you have not done so yet, if you have not followed us yet, my husband and I build our business together. I'm usually the one that does the lives, and he helps with a lot of the back end stuff that you don't unfortunately get to see, but you get to be a part of, like this live. So if you have not yet followed us on our fan page at David and Debbie Dunford on Facebook, please go to the page and click follow, because I go live every Wednesday to bring you some gold nuggets. Things I've learned over my journey as I've mentored other students I've mentored over 270 students with that are entrepreneurs, some in the online networking niche, some in totally different niches, some affiliate marketers, all those things. So I've done a lot of things and I've learned a lot of things. I've failed a lot of times, right? I have failed forward a lot. I have not been perfect. But if you have not yet followed our page, do so. And we take you on a journey, and I will share with you what I'm learning every step of the way. So every Wednesday, I have a live training like this. Monday's more of a motivational type thing and a mind shift. I don't want to say set, because there's a difference between mindset and having mastery over your mind. So go ahead and follow us, and we would love to have you there. So have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you later. Bye.